In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. Oh, I'm a child of God. Oh, I am.
So we trust you, Lord. For we trust in our God, and through his unfailing love, we will not be shaken. We will not be shaken. We will not be shaken. Yeah, wherever you're listening to right now, sing this with us. For we trust in our God, and we aim our hearts to you. And through his unfailing love, we will not be shaken. We will not be shaken. We will not be shaken. Yes, God, because we look to you. You're the one in control. Choose to worship you over fear. Yes, Lord. Though the battle rages, we will stand in the fight. Though the armies rise up against us on all sides, we will not be shaken. We will not be shaken. We will not be shaken. 'Cause you're our strength.
Against him will fall, for our God is stronger. He can do all things. No higher name we can call, for Jesus is greater, and we can do all things.
All those against him will fall, for our God is stronger. He can do all things. No higher name we can call, for Jesus is greater. We can do all. One more time, all those against. All those against him will fall, for our God is stronger. He can do all things. No higher name we can call, for Jesus is greater. He can do all things. shaken. We will not be shaken. No, we will not be shaken. For we trust in our God. Yes, and through His unfailing love, we will not be shaken. We will not be shaken. No, we will not be shaken. Trust you, Lord.
You tell mountains they must fall and they fall. You tell oceans to be still and they're calm. You tell sickness it must leave and it's gone. In my weakness, God, I know you are strong. You are the one above it all. I stand in awe of the God.
Today is TwoIgnite Sunday, and so I've been looking forward to this. I've been excited about all the online activity we'll be talking about in just a second. And so we thought the best way to kick off 2015 with TwoIgnite was to talk about dating. So before we talk about married dating, can I see the hands of all the singles who would like to be dating? Okay, just so you know, there's a lot you can pick up from this. Sarah Yoakum, you were the first hand I saw. So could somebody, no, we're not going to go there. But we love talking about dating around here. We believe in the scriptures. They are infallible. We believe in the priesthood of the saints. We believe in the date night. Keep it holy. And so we are going to talk today about what every marriage needs. And if you are a single, tune in because you'll pick up as much as you need to prepare for your dating life. If you're a parent, you can pick a lot up as well because you're probably going to get asked the question at some point by a child, what age is appropriate to start dating? And it seems like this magic number of 16, but we're not talking today about the character required for dating. We're not talking today about the person you need to find for dating. We're talking about just the value of dating in and of itself. So I remember about 10 years ago, Joe White invited me over to his house, and he said, have breakfast with me. And I remember sitting down for the very first time with Joe over a meal, and he poured me orange juice up there at his breakfast bar, which sits right above his stove. And the very first thing I did was knock the orange juice over onto the stove. So he spent 45 minutes cleaning the stove while talking to me, and I'll never forget it. Have you ever had any one of this little bit of wisdom that comes to you from a friend that you just never forget, and it sticks with you forever? This has just stuck with me. It's part of the core of my marriage belief and teaching today, and it was this simple. This is all he said. Every marriage needs a daily delay, a weekly withdrawal, and an annual abandon. A daily delay, 15 to 20 minutes a day, where you are eyeball to eyeball with your spouse, you are distraction-free, you are tech-free, you are child-free, and you are connecting at a eyeball to eyeball, heart to heart level. The daily delay. The weekly withdrawal. This is the date night. This is the priority of getting out of the house and leaving the crazies with grandma and grandpa. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? It's saying our marriage is important. And then the annual abandon. I mean, we live for these now in our family. In our marriage. I mean, we look forward to this and spending, it's a little mini vacation we take every year, just the two of us. I've told you what Amy's favorite is. For some of you, it's the beach. For some of you, it's the mountains. For my wife, it's any big city where we can walk and shop and eat. It's a mini time away. We've made this so the core of our marriage. We talk about this almost on a daily basis. We don't take a mini vacation every weekend. We take a date once a week, but it's like every day we're talking about quality couple time. When I say the word dating in our house or in our marriage, it means quality couple time. And here's why dating is so important for the married couples out there, no matter what your age, how long you've been married. Dating esteems marriage as highly valuable. You know, the vision here for TwoIgnite is around those three words you just saw on the screen: honor, enjoy, and prioritize. Hebrews 13:4 says, marriage should be honored by all and the marriage bed kept pure. We believe the word honor means to esteem as highly valuable. We believe marriage should be esteemed by all walks of life, by all seasons of life, by every age, whether you're married or single. Marriage is an important value. And I need to do a message on this sometime, but I believe the problem with poverty in our country could be solved if we took marriage seriously. The problem of rebellion among the youth in our country could be solved if we started esteeming marriage as highly valuable. Entitlement programs would be taken care of and no longer needed, in my opinion. And again, I'm not a government expert, but if we started taking marriage seriously. A lot of the parenting issues that you are dealing with today, we talked about a little bit last week, would be solved if you esteemed marriage as highly valuable. How, as a parent, do you look at your children and teach them right from wrong if you don't esteem marriage as highly valuable? We said it last week and we'll say it again. Faithfulness in marriage is one of the best ways to prepare your children to be adults. It's one of the best ways for you to have a foundation of moral authority in your home, which is necessary for great and successful parenting. And we believe dating does that. Here's what dating says. When you date, when you prioritize quality couple time, you're saying to family and friends, you're saying to your children, our marriage is important. It is a value. We take it very seriously around here. So when we plan it this week, when we talk about it this week, and then when we actually go on the date, this is to the value of everyone around us. So we're going to start today with the daily delay. The daily delay realigns your marriage and provides emotional safety in the home. If you have your Bibles, you can turn to the Song of Songs, chapter 1. We're going to be in chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 7 as we look at these three, the daily delay, the weekly withdrawal, and the annual abandon. We're going to start with the daily delay because I think this is where a lot of us begin to neglect our marriage. We begin to just let routine slip in, and we're not intentional with 15 to 20 minutes a day of connecting at a heart-to-heart level. Emotional communication. And in the Song of Songs, chapter 1, verses 14 and 17, the Shulamite woman and then Solomon begin painting this picture of what their key here, soon-to-be home, will look like. So if you're single and not yet married, this is a great example for you of something to shoot for and something to prepare for, because they begin painting this picture of a home that is a place where you relax. It's a place where you rejuvenate. And she's going to use En-Gedi, the oasis in the midst of a desert, to describe that. And then it's also going to speak of the security that every home needs. A home is a place where we step into at night and we're able to relax, we're able to disconnect from the world. We should be stepping into a home where we're not treated like the world treats us, and we should be protected and we should be safe. And here's the word picture that's used. My beloved is to me a cluster of henna blossoms from the vineyards of En-Gedi. En-Gedi is a desert oasis. So I love this word picture. So just imagine you work your job all day, you work your job hard, you have meetings, you're dealing with drivers, you're dealing with people who don't really care or tend to you maybe all that well. You want your home to be the place in the middle of that day, at the end of that day, for you to come home and say, this is a place where I am going to be refreshed. And some of you are like, are you kidding? I go to work to get refreshed. That's a problem. I want you to enjoy your job, have passion for your job, go do your job well, but home should be a place we all long to return to and desire to be. And in this church, our desire is to help you set up a home like that, where it's an oasis in the middle of a dry, long, exhausting, tiring day. It's the place you get to, and you can see it from afar off, and you're like, oh, it's so good to be home. It's not pulling in the driveway and praying to your Father in heaven for strength to go inside. It's like you want it to be this place of rest. But then there's also this idea of security that's involved in the home, and that's verse 17. The beams of our house are cedars. Our rafters are firs. And I love this imagery because it's like, okay, so I go into a physical place where I'm protected. I find shelter from the elements. I find protection from the outside enemies. And I always love this in the Psalms. Let me take you through some of the Psalms because this describes our relationship with the Lord. Okay, this is what the Lord brings us. Here's what Psalm 18 says. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. This idea of the one I turn to, the one I go to when times get tough, when times get hard. In whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. Psalm 46:1 says this. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. This is what I want my marriage and my home to be. I want it to reflect my relationship with the Lord. Psalm 28:7 says this, the Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in him and helps me. And I love it. If you're in a place that's safe and secure and you have rest there, your heart should leap for joy. This is why I believe the daily delay is so important. And with my song, I praise him. This security and this protection. I have to laugh. Yesterday, my dad took my son to the knife show at the Chateau to buy weapons. So if you're, tuning in from California, we love our weapons here in the Ozarks. We love anything that, can be used to protect us. And so he bought Carson, and Carson chipped in. They bought about like 5 knives. And so there's nothing greater than your 9-year-old playing with something like the Rambo knife. He got one of those, and I'm like, this is fantastic. But my dad said he went there to buy my mom a stun gun. And I said, a stun gun? I said, now, if you don't know my mom, and I think she'll allow me to say this, she lacks the strength, the speed, and the coordination necessary to take someone out with a stun gun. I got these 2 pictures in my head of someone grabbing my mom. This was the first, and I laughed when my dad said it because I could just see her getting grabbed from behind, her reaching in her purse real quick and shocking herself down to the ground. That's all that would happen. Or she would keep it in her nightstand. I could totally see this, hear something in the middle of the night, lean over and, and I'm going, that's exactly what would happen. Mom, you're not allowed to get a stun gun. A Glock or a 9mm or something I have no problem with. But even that, I just see her kind of going like this. I say all this, men, to some degree, let's train our wives how to kill people, I guess, is one of the lessons there. But let us be that place. Shouldn't we be that place where, man, I am protected. I am protected. I come into this home, and this is a place physically where I know I'm safe. When my dad would leave town when we were kids, my mom would move the dresser in front of the door. And she's always thought about that protection, but there's something about the safety in a home. And I think where we often forget about this is, that we can have fun with that physical safety and talk about it and deal with that, but also in the home, there needs to be an emotional and relational safety. And what Solomon and the Shulamite woman are exchanging are this, our relationship is going to be safe. I'm going to protect you physically. I'm going to protect you relationally. I'm going to protect you emotionally. We're going to do this. And here's why the daily delay is so important in that. Amy and I used to have this thing in our marriage called a QMR. You've heard me teach on this before. It was a quarterly marriage realignment. It was unplanned. We didn't have any scheduled time for this. It just happened, and the ebb and flow of our marriage was quarterly. And why was it a quarterly marriage realignment? Why did we wait and quarterly have these knock-down, drag-out, blow-up conversations? You know why? Because we just stuffed it. We didn't deal with it. We just let things go. And every 3 months, the letting of things go would resurface. And finally, we would erupt. That's my favorite question that my kids love asking. Dad, have you ever thought how good a volcano feels after it erupts? And I'm like, never thought of that. But that's what was happening in our marriage. Quarterly, we would erupt. And then we would have a long conversation over the course of a night or maybe the next day. And we don't do these anymore. We don't do these anymore because we so value the daily delay. The daily delay realigns the marriage. The daily delay provides a safe place to have conversations to where I can discuss something, even something that I know is a little bit of a trigger in my spouse. I can bring this up because we have so spent the time building emotional, relational, and physical safety in this home. And so it may only be 5 minutes, it may be 10 minutes, it may be 15 minutes, but we just know the daily delay is what does this. And here's the picture of how that works. The gap between what you expect and what you receive, we call that stress. But stress is a socially acceptable term for what? Anger. You're mad. And the quality of your marriage rests in the gap. So if your gap is this big, you have a stressful marriage. The goal with the daily delay is to bring the gap down to here. This is what I expect. This is what I'm receiving. And when it starts to go here, I want to deal with it before it's here. So as I start to feel this, okay, let's discuss this. Let's deal with this. We had our daily delay last night was over. They have this new coffee at Starbucks. It's called is it a flat iron, a flat white or whatever, but it's espresso. We had one of those at 4:30, and then I had that January mug that they fill up for free. Took that home, poured it, and we're having coffee, sitting there in our sitting area for 20 minutes, just Amy and I, and then we woke up this morning at 2 a.m., right, and we're just wide awake, having great conversation, buzzing off espresso, and about 5 a.m., and at 7 we wake up, and we're like, we got to go to church this morning. Anyway, so it was one of those nights, but we look back on this and go, we want the gap of our marriage to be in this range right here, not in this range. We're done with this. We want every day to have enough safety in our home, and that's why the daily delay is important. And then you're prepared for the next one, the weekly withdrawal. The problem is some of you will not have the daily delay, and you're going to use date night to be the time where you realign all of your expectations and bring the marriage back in tune. And this is why you've hated dating. Because it's hostile. Because it's like we got to talk budget. We got to talk kids. We got to talk your job. And you just start going through the line, and you're just like, can this date be over? I want this date. Dating becomes exciting when you have the daily delay first and foremost built into your marriage. And now you're creating anticipation, because now I can't wait for Friday night. You kidding me? Until you go see the movie Into the Woods and realize you wasted your date night. Oh, that was the dumbest movie they've ever created. I look at Amy, I'm going to go to the bathroom, and I'm walking very slow. Oh, my golly. Anyway, I still don't know what the point of that movie was, but I still was looking forward to it. But memories worth repeating. We stole this from Hershey Family Entertainment Corporation. Right? Their whole mission statement is creating memories worth repeating. And again, my favorite statements I've ever heard have been at Silver Dollar City. The two of them that always stick with me. The one guy, he's walking in. The people are trying to make a living. So can I take your picture? Be kind. Be courteous. Even if you don't want your picture. This one dad, great line, says to the lady, can I take your picture? I don't even want to be here with them. Why would I want my picture with them? Okay, that's not fitting the Hershey Family Entertainment mission statement at the moment. Or the best was when we were leaving one day. I've seen a lot of meltdowns. Anybody else see a meltdown at Silver Dollar City? So fantastic. We've been out there a couple times when the Duggards have been out there, and I just kind of follow them around to see. I would love to see a 19-kid meltdown. I think that'd be fantastic. But no, they're always happy. So even when the cameras aren't rolling. But the one dad looks at his kids who's just whining and complaining, and he says to his kid, you don't knock it off, I'm going to stuff you in one of those barrels over there. And I thought, creating memories worth repeating, right? This is what. But the weekly withdrawal, and so this is, to me, if you've never experienced Hebrew poetry, this to me is some of the best in the Song of Songs, chapter 2. Because it speaks of this anticipation and this desire. The daily delay is in the home, or maybe right around the home if you have a fire pit or some area of your home set up for this. But the weekly withdrawal, the date night, is actually getting away. It's going away from the home and leaving the dishes and the laundry and the housekeeping and everything there. And now I get away. It's my break during the week. And watch what happens as she begins to speak of Solomon. And again, you got to keep in mind, in chapter 2 of the Song of Songs, they're not yet married. So let's look at this. This is a weekly withdrawal. Listen, my beloved, look, here he comes. This is that anticipation. Leaping across the mountains, bounding over the hills. So this is a guy that is running. He's excited. My beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands behind our wall, gazing through the windows. I always have to stop here, because if you're not familiar with Hebrew poetry, you think, this guy's a pervert. He gets to her house and starts looking through her windows. This is not normal. Peering through the lattice. This is the idea of, I can't wait to get my first glimpse of her. This is why, guys, I just want to encourage you. Step it up a notch on the weekly withdrawal. Right? Maybe there are times I get ready for our date night, and I come out and Amy's gotten ready, and I'm just kind of wearing whatever, happened as I went into the closet. And I come out and I'm like, oh, I should probably step it up a notch. And I walk back in and I pick something out. And guys, I know you love Old Spice and you've loved it for the last 75 years, but maybe it's time to try something new, right? Some of you guys, just for fun, get a shirt with snaps, okay? tell her, hey, the snaps are for you, baby. Right? And the guys back there, I got an 80-year-old back there going, hey, just go like that. Anyway, so, kid you not. So, but look, let's keep going. Verse 10, my beloved spoke and said to me, arise, my darling, my beautiful, and here's the key. Come with me. Let's get away from all this. Let me get you out of this home. Let me get you away from what you've been doing. See, the winter is past. The rains are over and gone, and are we longing for this or what? Verse 12, flowers appear on the earth. The season of singing has come. The cooing of the doves is heard in our land. Verse 13, the fig tree forms its early fruit. The blossoming vines spread their fragrance. Arise, come, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me. And the idea there is of spring. So you know at Woodland Hills, we have decided to fully embrace the date night movement. And a lot of churches are doing this, challenging their people to 3 dates in 3 weeks, 4 dates in 4 weeks, 5 dates in 5 weeks. We've kind of stepped it up a few weeks. What I love about this, the two main reasons couples give for not dating or doing the weekly withdrawal, we have children and no money. So as I have been out looking at Instagram and Facebook and Twitter at all the different dates going on, a lot of them are cheap. A lot of them are at home. Amy and I are still going to do a date this month. We haven't downloaded the movie yet, but part of reenacting our first date, it was on Smith Mountain Lake. It was a blind date. So I thought we could watch the movie What About Bob, which is where they filmed What About Bob, was on Smith Mountain Lake, and we're going to sit there with blindfolds. I thought that'd be great. We'll just sit there. It's the blind date. No, I'm just kidding. We'll watch it. It'll be fantastic. But I had someone ask me last week, and I thought this was great, and her initials are Courtney, and she said, what about a mom who's nursing? I mean, can we take the baby with us? And my gut first reaction to that was absolutely. I wasn't going to be this guy that says, no, you will leave that baby in capable hands and you will go. So I said, I'll talk to Adam about a rule change. And I did. I was planning on talking to Adam because he's in charge of the rules. And if you want to go to our website, you can find all the rules of how many you have to be a part of to qualify for the cruise at the end of the year. I get in the van, our minivan, going home, and I told Amy, we kind of debriefed the whole morning, and I said, oh, yeah, and I got to talk to Adam about a rule change. And she says, about what? I go, about allowing moms to take their small babies. And she goes, absolutely not. I'm like, you people are ruthless. I go, this is a new mom with a small baby. And she goes, they need it the most. And she goes, oh, I wish I would have understood this when we first had our children, that an hour and a half a getaway. So I just want to say, Courtney, I tried. This is a mean church. This is a rules-driven church that at times is pharisaical. But if you want to take the baby and hide him from the selfie, I won't say anything. I'm just kidding. We're going to stick with the rules because I have been trumped on that. So let's look at the last one, the annual abandon. And we usually had that this weekend in Love and Laughter, but it doesn't mean you still can't have an annual abandon. This is the season in Branson to get a cheap hotel room. I don't know if you know that. I would call, and I know our hotel guys are going to hate me for this, but call and negotiate. They're going to be pretty open. Okay? Don't be that extreme cheapskate where you want it for like $10, but you can get some pretty good deals off season. I travel and do marriage and family speaking, and I do conferences in the off season in all sorts of places. So Branson, the off season is winter. Nobody wants to come and visit here in January. You can get great deals here. If you're traveling and want to get a great deal in Palm Springs or Phoenix, I recommend August. They give great deals there. It's kind of flipped, but you can find great opportunities, and we see this in chapter 7. Now, the Shulamite bride and Solomon are married. They were married in chapter 3 of this book. They went on their honeymoon in chapter 4, and in chapter 7, after they've had some time into the marriage and after life has clicked away a little bit, she comes to him and says this. This is one of my favorite because this ignites intimacy. Come, my beloved, let us go to the countryside. So not only does the daily delay take place in the home and the weekly withdrawal is in and around town, the annual abandon is out of town. And you know this. We're a small enough town. We went yesterday and walked around the Recplex. And it's when you go to the Recplex on Saturday during small children's basketball, you realize we live in a small town. We know everybody. You know everybody. There's value in going to the countryside and getting away from people you know so you can walk in on your date night to Buffalo Wild Wings, see people you know, stop and talk, have a good time. But the annual abandon is I'm going someplace to hide. I'm going someplace to get away. No one's going to know us. We're going to be all by ourselves. We're going to enjoy one another. Let us spend the night in the villages. Solomon's a busy, tired shepherd king. He has a lot going on in his daily routine. Getting away is good for them both. Verse 12, let us go early to the vineyards to see if the vines have budded, if their blossoms have opened. So the whole idea here, you see too, is just a slow pace. We're not in a rush to do anything. We're going to go down and look and see the scenery. And if the pomegranates are in bloom, and now I love this, there I will give you my love. Again, if you do not understand Hebrew poetry, there I will give you my love. The Hebrew term is bound, bound, chicky, chicky, bound, bound. She's saying, I want to go and get away from all of our distractions. And I'm done with the distraction of the internet. And I would encourage you, take the selfie, maybe post it at the end of the night, but put the phone aside. Put the technology aside. I don't even think selfies are a requirement of this. You don't even have to take your technology into the date night or the annual abandon. Leave it at home. Come back and report about your date. Tell us what happened if you don't want to take it with you. But the idea here is we are distraction-free. We are tech-free. We have a couple of days where we are unplugged from unplugged from all that's around us, and we're focused on each other. We're spending time with each other. We're enjoying each other. I just want to encourage you as your pastor. You're like, a very simple message, very easy message, but I'm done getting the call almost daily or being told almost daily that this couple or that couple, they're done. It's at epidemic levels in our country and in our community. And I'll be honest with you, Facebook's so negative and toxic, and people are angry and frustrated. And 52 and 15 has been so refreshing. It's been just like this, oh, look at this. There's a couple having a good time. Because you don't need to put any more pictures of yourself on Facebook, putting yourself out there for others. Put a picture of you and your spouse out there enjoying life together. Ecclesiastes 9:7-9 is a passion of this church. Enjoy life with your wife whom you love all your meaningless days. Life is tough. Life is a grind. But you can choose to enjoy life together. We want you to enjoy life together. We want you to take the time to do that. And if you are living in a kid-centered home, 52 and 15 is your wake-up call. It's your opportunity to say, we are going to break free from the kid-centered home. And there are guys in here, I've heard this. I've received a lot of private messages. And here's what I love. Continue to be who you are, because when you leave here on Sunday morning and you're having conversations on your way out the door, other people are hearing those conversations and reporting back to us. And just like the guy who looks at his kid and says, I'm going to stuff you in that barrel if you don't knock it off, the stuff you pick up on your way out, and people were picking things up in the last few weeks, leaving. And when Adam introduced this in December, some people left and they heard other people say in our church, we'll never be able to do that. It just isn't going to happen. And here's, I just want to challenge the men. Because you're like, man, yeah, next week, you're going to have us do a vow renewal. And we got to come to the front and exchange our vows and slow dance in front of the congregation. And I want to throw up in the back of my mouth just thinking about it. Can I encourage you to take the lead on this? Take the lead. Be the husband. You know, we're not making this candlelight dinner once a week, although it's more doable than you think. We want to challenge you to step. You can do this. You can prioritize this time, and I believe it's the greatest gift you give your children. You're like, no, the greatest gift I give my children is of watching their games on the weekend and all throughout the week. And it's shocking to me, too. I mean, I grew up playing sports because I was one of the greatest athletes of the 20th century. But my parents came to as many games as they could, but my parents had this thing called a job. They had jobs that they worked, and I don't know, I guess I never grew up thinking, why aren't they here at 3 p.m. at the junior high watching my practice? I'm just shocked at the number of parents who are like, every single thing my child does, I have to be involved in, participating in, and observing, to which I say, who said? I don't think the greatest gift you give your kids is being there watching them practice. And I think we've fallen for the lie that says participating with them in sports is more important than dating my wife. I really do. I think we've fallen for that lie, and I don't think it's true at all. I think the best gift you give your children is a mom and dad who enjoy life together. Again, I don't deal with people in counseling when I'm trying to figure out and get back to the roots of it and the history of it and what happened in your life that brought you to this point of brokenness. Nobody sits around going, I'll tell you what the problem was, my parents loved each other too much. I don't ever hear that. You know what I hear? The brokenness of my parents. They didn't stick it out. They gave up. They quit. That's what's fueling our passion for this. And you know, one of the trends we're attacking in this church is the trend of dating while divorcing. Couples who divorce and while they're in the separation process begin dating new people. It's happening all over the internet, and I'm praising my Father in heaven for 52 and 15 to show married couples who are prioritizing time together. Because prioritizing quality couple time says our marriage is important. We want to give this to our children, we want to give this to our church, and we want to give this to our community. That's what we're asking you to commit to. Would you pray with me?